Good evening, influencers. I'm delighted to extend a warm welcome to you on behalf of the Rich Human Magazine Summit, the hardworking team, the soul-searching team behind the scenes and the speakers. I am Dr. Marina Nani, and I am the founder and owner of Rich Human Society, and I believe that you deserve to be seen, to be heard, and to be you. Um, Rich Human Society is being home to some of the finest daring dreams and big dreamers and niche publications under one roof. And this is the first private community of conscious influencers. What are we doing in the next 24 hours? What are you doing in the next 24 hours? We come together as one to celebrate you and your big dreams at the first 24-hour Dream Big Summit. This is the eighth of the annual series, and if you want more, there is more. On the 21st of June, we launch our 2.0 series, live streaming across all online platforms. We have a multitude of 12 sessions, and guest speakers from all over the world are gracing the stage from Australia to Europe, North America, and South America. Our Rich Human Society honorary members, lifetime members, patrons, and lead speakers are here together to eradicate limiting beliefs, to unleash your human potential, and remind us all that dreaming big is no longer a luxury, is a necessity. So if you find the courage and the support to excel, and you are the best version of yourself, and you want to become who you are destined to be, this is the place to be. What's more, this summit has been always completely free, and thanks to our sponsor, Coach Savvy UK, and the wisdom and the desire to help everyone and leave no one behind, we are going to keep the summit free for as long as possible. Today, we are going to share with you the wisdom, and I hope you are going to find the joy you'll benefit from in the next 24 hours and influence you in a significant way. We have book baby showers, we have book launches. Rich Human Society has been launching and coining a new industry, social edification. And this is why, since the last summit, the 24-hour positive thinking summit, we created the never ending book. This is a book that gives every reader the chance to become a published author. We are going to talk more about it, and you are going to find us in session 11 when all the authors are getting together, and perhaps this is where we belong to. Rich Human Society is the private community of conscious influencers, but every single member, every single creator inside Rich Human Society is passionate about women bringing the community together across the globe to build solid, meaningful connections, to support one another, to uplift one another, to inspire each other and the world. It is a viable, meaningful, deeply committed task. But we are here together, and we learn that showing up for yourself means showing up for others. Please share and invite those you love and care for, and thank you for joining us. It is my privilege to declare the first 24-hour Dream Big Summit officially open. Right now, the summit comes to your hometown. The first session is led by my colleague and business partner, Téa. She's the sole editor for Rich Human Magazine, and we've been together working really hard behind the scenes at the Inspiration Desk, part of the larger team, the Soul Search Squad. Téa, the mic is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Marina. Thank you, and welcome, everybody. Welcome to each and every one of our speakers, and welcome to those of you who are joining us across all platforms. We are streaming live to YouTube, to Facebook, to LinkedIn, and we are live on Clubhouse. So welcome, welcome, welcome. And the 24-hour Dream Big Summit is officially open. Welcome to session 1. Woohoo! Session 1. We are so excited to be here for this 24-hour summit, and I feel so honored that I get to have the first slot, and we are live streaming today. We are live streaming this today, and just really briefly, it's part of what we're doing here at Rich Women Magazine, and through the summits that we're launching people's books, right? So we have book baby showers, and today, throughout the next 24 hours, there will be quite a few book baby showers, books being born. And we're actually celebrating the launch of our very first never-ending series of books, the Rich Daily Inspiration books. And the very first one of those books are being published this weekend, and it's BU with Dr. Marina and Gail. And BU is a collection of inspirational stories that have been recorded live on Clubhouse in our daily inspiration rooms. So we took the best part of those conversations and created a book with no chapters, but 30 days of inspiration. And we asked one important question every day. And what we've done has never been done before, and we've created a series. Like, there's going to be the BU series, there's going to be the Rich Daily Soul Inspiration series. And at the end of each day, you have your own page where you can answer that day's question for yourself. And then that's not all, because you can also send in your answer and be featured as an author in the very next book. You can send in multiple answers and be featured right throughout the next series of books and become a published author that way. So the reader becomes the author, and this makes a perfect gift for yourself, for family, for friends. So we're very excited about the launch of that amazing book series that we've created, right? We had all these amazing conversations, and people were transforming through these incredible conversations. And we thought, you know what? We need to share this, right? We really need to share this message with the world. So we created the book series that is following on from that. But without much further ado, I invited a whole bunch of some of my favorite people to come on board and share with us their stories of dreaming big, their dream big stories, to inspire you, to invoke within you the desire to keep dreaming big. It is essential to dream big. It's not an option. It's not optional to dream big. It's essential to dream big. And the very first of my guests, wonderful woman called Janice Jones. Janice Jones is an author, speaker, and transformational coach who has worked with women for over 25 years. She empowers women to turn their trauma into triumph, their pain into passion, and their fear into freedom. She draws from 4 decades of personal growth, and she is on a mission to unlock women's greatness using breathwork, positive psychology, mindfulness, timeline therapy, and neuroscience. Her motto is "Say yes to you." Now, Janice is a good friend of mine. We've done loads of work together, and she has helped me along my own journey back from my childhood trauma. She's been an instrumental part of my journey. And actually, so many of these women that you're going to be meeting today has been a very instrumental part of my journey and helping me to keep dreaming big, right? Keep dreaming big. And we need a team. We need a dream big team. Each and every one of us needs a big dream big team. So Janice, welcome on the stage, and thank you so much for coming and joining us today on the stage. We would love to hear your story, and why is it important for you to dream big? What is it that keeps you dreaming big? And you know, I'm sure it wasn't always easy to dream big. So and you know, we're here to inspire those that might be going through a really rough patch right now and thinking, you know what, I'm just going to give up. I can't dream anymore. I'll just get a job, or I'll just do this, or I'll just, you know, give up on my dreams. I'll just fiddle the path, right? And I know that your story is a very, very inspirational story. So please do go ahead and share your story with us, Janice.
Thank you so much, Téa, and it's absolutely wonderful to be here. And I feel very honoured to be the first speaker in this incredible day that we're going to have over this next 24 hours. So, yeah, for me, the dreaming big is about when you come from, as I did, when you come from a place of multiple traumas throughout my childhood, teenagehood, and into my 20s, that you really start to question whether it will ever be any different. And when I had a person speak called Téa Staegemann, who talked about learned helplessness and how we can go from a place of learned helplessness to learned optimism. And I'd always thought that I was quite an optimistic person, but actually all my trauma, my pain, my powerlessness, my fears, my negative belief systems, my physical, where my body held my trauma, the fact that I was dissociated most of my life. So it felt like I was watching a video of my life rather than completely living my life. And it just felt to me as if there was never going to be anything that made that any better, that was just how I had to live. And that included becoming an alcoholic, a drug addict, having violent relationships, being in really dangerous situations, and all of it together left me with incredibly low self-esteem, low self-worth, no self-love, and very little self-care. And so over the years, I have been addressing all of those things. So the alcoholism, I got into recovery. The drugs had gone a few years before. I've had to work hard on my codependency, my adult child issues. I've done lots of therapy. I've engaged in EMDR and timeline therapy. And more recently got into breath work, because what I realized was that even though I've done all this work, my body, like Van der Kolk says, the body keeps the score, that my body was still locked into this, holding all the trauma within, and also locked in a place of not fear, but just not able to be completely embodied on this planet. And so my journey through all of these things is so that I can then pass this knowledge on to other women who may be in, dangerous relationships, or coming from childhood trauma, or even adult trauma, because, we all, let's face it, lived through trauma over the last 2 years with the pandemic. So trauma is not something that, it just happens in childhood to a few people. It's really quite common. So it's that thing of, we can release through all the things that I do with my coachees. We can release and learn to live fully present, in the moment, embodied in our body completely, instead of most of the time being dissociated. We can have high self-esteem, self-care, really learn how to love and nurture ourselves, and not do it as if it's, I shouldn't do that, or I feel guilty about it. No, we should love and respect ourselves and all aspects of ourselves. And so for me, it's working with women on mindset, heart set, and soul set. So all of it is important. And that's what I'm here to do. I've just finished my first online program, which is all about boundary building for a calm life. Because for me, if we don't have the ability to put the boundaries in place, to hold our boundaries, to know what we're doing with our time, our energy, and our life, that if we're not conscious of that bit, it's very difficult to then go on and build the amazing life that is our birthright. That, you know, we are from the stars. We are incredible beings. And that is what we're here to do, is to fully embody who we are. And that's my journey, is all the things I've been through, I believe I went through in order to be able to work with other women, so that they know that wherever they are on that journey, they're not alone, and that they don't have to stay in that place of learned helplessness. They don't have to stay in addiction. They don't have to stay living a half life because of trauma. And that's, you know, it happened for me, not to me. I am no longer a victim. I am no longer living in learned helplessness. And I believe it's my role in life to empower women to be their greatest, most embodied, incredible selves. And actually, right now on this planet, that's what the whole world needs. It needs us all to stand up and be that. So thank you so much. And it's wonderful to be here, Téa.
Thank you, Janice. Thank you so much. And so I've got a question for you, though. You know, having gone through all of those, there must have been real patches where it must have been really, really difficult. How did you keep the dream alive? What did you do to keep your dream alive?
It was that whole idea around, I am not a victim here. This is happening for me and by me. This is not happening to me.
But surely there must have been moments when you were trapped and you were feeling like a victim. So, you know what I mean? So I, as having come through it myself, and I'm thinking about our audience here who might have experienced trauma, and they're having days where they're thinking, I can't keep this dream alive, right? But they're feeling like a victim. And you keep falling back into victim, because that was a very, very big part of my journey, is always falling back into victim. And I have accountability coaches like Bolatui, who calls me out all the time and says, Téa, I think you're stepping over the line again. And I'm like, how did I do that? You know, and you just naturally do.
And I think that's why I was called to do the work that I do with the women that I work with, because, you know, I had other women who went before me, who called me forward. And that's, I think, what we all need. We all need coaches, therapists, consultants, whatever, because we can't do this on our own. It is about what we do, the collective we together, and the one-to-one relationships. And it's because of, you know, being in recovery for 25 years and having the mentors and coaches that I've had. I've spent thousands on, you know, working with people, literally. And I made that commitment to me, because that's really important. My moving forward, the more I move forward, the more I'm able to pull up the people behind me. And that's what I'm here to do.
So tell us, what was that one thing you did on your worst days? What was the one thing that you did? Is it, you know, I know you're doing breath work now, but 10 years ago, when you were in the thick of some of it, what was one thing you did that kept you connected to the lifeline of the vision that you had for your life? Because I think it's very important that we have a vision, you know, especially us who had the trauma. It's so important to have that vision, because you need to hold on to that vision, right? But what was the one thing you did that
I actually did two, Téa, and one was journaling, because I need to see what I'm thinking. And if my thought processes have gone to the negative, I can see it in black and white. So journaling has always been present with me and is a really powerful tool. And also prayer and meditation. you know, that it's even on my worst day where I couldn't speak to somebody on the phone and there wasn't anybody there at 3 o'clock in the morning, I always had prayer and meditation. So I never felt totally on my own.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Exactly the answers I was looking for, because, you know, sometimes when these women who have these dreams, these tiny little dreams, they can't, you know, they don't have the 1,000 to spend necessarily, but they need a lifeline, right? They need a lifeline. And like you rightfully said, it's that journaling. For me, journaling was a massive part of my journey too. So thank you for that step and that reminder. And then, of course, the prayer and meditation. Fantastic. Thank you so, so much, Janice. Thank you so much. We know you're going to be changing lots and lots of lives. You know, having worked with you, I know how powerful and how amazing you are. And I'm really grateful that you've given us your time here tonight to come and share a little bit of who you are and what you do and how you've made it through, right? So that other women can see, and young girls who are going through it all right now, they can see, look, here she is. She's done it. She's through it. She's flowering. She's blossoming. So thank you so, so much. Really appreciate it. Woohoo! Okay, so fantastic. First speaker done. Wonderful, wonderful share. And I'm now going to call up onto the stage our wonderful next speaker. So our next speaker is the wonderful Alexandra Rehar, and she is an international author, speaker, manifestation mentor, and in-demand business coach with 12 years of experience supporting small business owners to uncover their gifts and create a clear vision for their business. In 2021, Alexandra pivoted her business to serve the international market, becoming an internationally best-selling author of The Law of Brand Attraction 2. She rebranded her business to Quantum Business Leaders. Alexandra's vision is to empower over 1 million leaders by leading them to live fulfilled lives as they lead their businesses. She helps them to expand and grow their businesses faster. And she knows what happens if our personal lives massively impact on every level of our business, our money, and our relationships. So she really taps into that aspect of it, so we don't have that domino effect. She created a new program, Quantum Business Leaders for Women. So you can use your intuition on how to confidently achieve your dreams. And I can tell you something, this is an intuitive powerhouse right here. She doesn't reign from the UK at all, but we've had powerful conversations online where she's literally given me a ping and said, I'm feeling this in the quantum field. This is going on in your life right now. And I'll be like, dang, how did you do that? So she's very, very intuitive. So as a business coach and somebody who helps women to develop this quantum business, she's really, really phenomenal. So Alexandra, thank you so much for joining us. Let us know where you are dialing in from. Where have the World Summit gone to? Where's the 24-hour summit right now?
Well, thank you for inviting me. I'm really honored to be here. And also, I'm coming from Slovenia, the capital town, Ljubljana, and we are nearby. Actually, we are neighbors between Italy, Hungary, and Austria and Croatia. For those who don't know where Slovenia actually is in the right Central Europe. And we have love in word Slovenia, and we are really proud of to have really loving people here. So actually, my path really wasn't as easy as most of people think, that we are coaches, we live a really happy life, but it doesn't work like this. We have to go through a really huge struggle, and what I think, by my opinion, is that we have a really biggest lessons to learn, so we can teach other people's and guiding them through the light. so they can live a really fulfilled life. So this is why I'm helping women to uncover their gifts, so they can pass really past lives. This past, not the previous lives, but this life actually, and to live the past, which is actually working like a burden on them. So it's blocking the way to live your dreams to the fullest. And this is main reason because we have negative self-talk. And this self-talk, it can be really destructive. I was really for a long time in this destructive inner talk and inner circle, like on a hamster wheel. And this experience made me a little bit stronger. So I can really feel that, well, most of the women are really living in their fear. What if happens the worst case scenario? What if everything goes wrong? What if I cannot make it? What if I cannot live my life to the fullest? But I think that this life is really not everlasting life. We have limited life on this earth. And I think that we should live to the fullest daily and embrace it with all heart, body, and mind, so we can really live soulfully and juicy stuff of our lives really easily. So this is my mission, to empower women to actually work with them and to live joyfully, because they deserve this. They are really really empowered women. We are strong, and we really need to appreciate that what we bring to this world. We are giving lives. We are actually we are a real wonder in this planet Earth. So yeah, for me,
I agree with you.
Yeah, for me, playing small is not an option. Yeah.
Fantastic. And Alexandra, one of your gifts, I know, is intuitiveness. So
Yeah.
talk to us about that, in terms of helping women to discover, because I think part of living out, dreaming big and living big dreams is listening to our intuition, especially as women and young girls. And I think as the planet is consciously developing and our consciousness is growing, I think that more and more, I'm seeing more and more teachers, more and more people who are talking about intuition, right? They're talking about tapping into your intuition.
Yes.
And you, for me, you're one of those supreme intuitive beings, and you're very open and verbal about it. But have you always had this, or is it something that you needed to develop? Please tell us a little bit more about that, because I think it's an important key element for women.
I think my losses impacted on this, that I have developed my intuition to the fullest. It wasn't always. I was really psychic for the first time, but I didn't know what is happening to me before. Then when my mom passed away, I was really getting aware of what is actually happening to me, that I see things around me, I can feel it, I'm really all channeled open, so I can channel for you or for somebody else what is going on and where your blockages are. So this is why I'm really strong, and we actually work on different areas on intuitive skills, because every single person have their own channel, which are channeling, transferring the messages, which are downloading through you. So you need to really develop these skills. They are not you cannot, because you are developing, like you are not aware of it that you have it, but you have to develop it so you can become more consciously about this. Yes.
Yeah, and something Dr. Marina always talks about is social edification. She's always on about social edification, because we've been so socially conditioned, haven't we? And I believe that a great part of our conditioning is that we've been conditioned to just be puppets, to not dream big anymore, to not be intuitive anymore, to not trust ourselves anymore, to listen to everybody else, to just become machinery. We're just cogs in a wheel. And the moment you tap into your power, your intuitive power, whatever it is that you have the gifts for on this planet, you then get to start opening up and being more expansive and living bigger dreams and living a bigger life, and being of service, right? Being of service to others. So
Yes.
I wholeheartedly agree with you, wholeheartedly. And Dr. Marina and I have lots of conversations about this in Clubhouse. Actually, we're constantly talking about the fact that so many of us have been so conditioned, right? And I think part of our conditioning is learning not to listen to our guts, our hearts, and our intuition. Learning to, and I'm sure from the sound of it, that you were saying that you were quite psychic. You had these beautiful gifts and abilities, but they hadn't been developed and they had been ignored pretty much and suppressed. Am I right?
Yes, they were suppressed for a long time, actually, because I was so earthy. I just want to do earthy things. I just want to be regular as the other person are in this world, and I was in constant denial of myself. No, this is not me, this is not who I am, and because of that I was so self-sabotaging myself that I didn't actually get to live my dreams out and to dare to, because we are afraid of what would people say about me. Am I a lunatic or what? Or we are afraid of these judgmental thoughts from the other persons, which are already not ours, because 99% of thoughts and emotions and feelings are actually not ours, and we are just sensing the projectory thoughts from them to us. And when this become a belief thought, then we are actually burned, because we are not believing anymore in our possibilities, so we can live actually our right dreams. And this is why I'm teaching the tools and how to ask yourself to get the right answers for you, so you can really rely on to your intuitive skills, and that you can really believe for what you are here, and what is your actually purpose, and to live to the fullest. Yes. And how to
Fantastic.
manifest them. Yeah.
I love it. And in business, it is so needed, right? There are not many women that do this in business. And I can tell you, I can see why you self-sabotaged and why you did what you did, because it's hard. In business, there are rules. There are rules. It's got to be like this, this, this. So if any of our listeners have big dreams to make it in business and you're intuitive, there we go. There is an amazing woman building an amazing intuitive business. And she's, she doesn't have her head in a cloud. She's not all woo-woo. She's down on the ground, straightforward, but she is intuitive and clearly, very, very gifted. Alexandros, thank you so, so much. Really wonderful to have you with us. And thank you for sharing your story. I know that you are inspiring many, many of us with what you've shared today. And I know that many women are going to go, oh, I can resonate with that. And they can keep dreaming big as a result of that. So thank you so much. Okay, so time for our next guest this evening, our 24-hour summit. And I have the honor of getting onto stage a wonderful, beautiful, beautiful friend of mine. I've just got to pull up something here before I miss it. I don't want to miss a single thing. So let me just grab. So there we go. So our next guest is the beautiful, beautiful Boletui Ayeshimoju. I can never say your surname, Boletui. It's a tongue twister for me. So Boletui Ayeshimoju, and she's a transformational coach, and she's the founder of Magni Essence Coaching, and she is a magnificent being. Let me tell you one thing. Boletui is a philanthropier, a women's high-achieving coach, an international speaker, #1 best-selling author, and the founder of Magni Essence, who is aiming to inspire over 1 million women, high achievers, to magnify their essence for more conscious impact. Her unique past during her 14-year international career in diverse roles at L'Oreal gave her a unique perspective of the challenges that high-achieving women face. In 2015, the wings of excitement gave way to disillusionment, and Boletui, in spite of incredible energy, was burning out. She now inspires and supports women on a mission to make a difference. She believes that the secret to leading a life with clarity, confidence, and vitality is reconnecting with and magnifying your true self. Her transformational programs have been attended by thousands of people. I have myself had the honor of being a speaker on one of Boletui's events. I have attended her summits, and I know that the works that she does is amazing and really, really powerful. So Boletui, welcome to our stage. It's so wonderful to have you here with us. Please tell us, where in the UK or where in the world are you coming to us from?
I'd love to. Thank you so much for that introduction, Téa. It's a fabulous honor to be here. So it's wonderful to be at this first Rich Women Summit, and I am calling in from the United Kingdom in Kent. I truly believe that what you've put together is an absolute necessity. And the reason I say so is that the famous Joe Dispenza says that the best way to actually predict your future is to actually create it. And so if you're creating a future from a tiny little small dream, from lots of disbelief, lots of I cannot, it's impossible, I'm a victim, I'm traumatized, life is happening to me as opposed to for me, you can imagine, like a very good friend of mine, Yurush, would say, that you're basically unconsciously recreating the past, right? And so big dreams are, as Dr. Marina said, it's not an option. It's an absolute necessity for any young woman or any woman at all who really wants to make a difference in this world. Because when you step into that power of intention of saying, this is what I want. And I agree. Téa was saying there's some days that we may not really feel on top of the world. We may feel really down. We may not even know how we're going to create it. That's not a problem. The most important thing is to decide, am I committed to my vision or am I attached to my past? You see, I've had lots of miracles happen in my life. And there was a time I was simply just creating miracle after miracle after miracle. But what happened is I went into the corporate world and I disconnected from my beautiful, phenomenal, powerful, feminine essence. And I stepped into what I thought was necessary, which is the masculine side. So the logic, the ego, this is how it has to be, having to double check everything. I disconnected from that powerful intuition. Alexandra was just talking about that. And it worked for a little while. But the problem is that when we disconnect from that beautiful, phenomenal feminine essence, where everything is possible, it's all about possibility, at some point we burn out. And at some point, I started feeling like I was going through the motions, but my soul had departed. And one of the largest companies in the world began to feel painfully small. It was painful to my soul to be there. And I had to step into my essence again to find myself. And I left what many people would say was a dream job, what many people thought, are you crazy? How could you leave this? It's, you're set for life, et cetera, you're jet setting all over the world. You have a fabulous salary, et cetera. But I knew that staying there, I was basically dying a day at a time. And only I could know this. And so I really had to step into the courage that only essence knows, that the courage of knowing that this is no longer where I need to be. It's like having a pair of shoes, which are absolutely beautiful as a child. And you know how children grow so quickly. And you still insist as an adult, you want to squeeze your feet into that. So when you have big dreams, you also have to realize that those dreams will get bigger and bigger and bigger. And there are 4 things I'd like to share with you. The first thing is the awareness. What is it that you truly desire? And please don't go to the ocean with a teaspoon. if the ocean is what you want, the ocean is what you want. The second thing is acceptance of where exactly you are right now, because when we do not accept where we are right now, we cannot pull in the resources that we need to go from A to B. The third thing is intention. That intention that is uncolored by limiting beliefs, that intention which is absolutely about possibility, and knowing that if you can truly see it and truly believe it, then it is as good as done. And the last thing, and I think many of the fabulous ladies already alluded to it, is accountability. Big dreams die often, not because it's not a great dream, not because you're not a fabulous person, because you don't have a group of people around you. There's a beautiful sentence I love, which is, when birds fly together in formation, they fly 70% higher and further than when they're alone. Now imagine you by yourself on those days when you need a pickup. There's nobody there for you. Everybody has those days, I can assure you. We all have those days. But when we're able to reach out to people who hold us high, to people who speak love into us, then we will never stop. We will never fail, because we will keep getting up each time. And I want to also say this. People think that success is an absence of failure. No. Success is basically failing forwards many times, but picking yourself up again and again and again. Success is commitment to your dream, not attachment to your comfort zone. Success is it's stepping into courage, which is vulnerable, and saying, this is what I truly desire. Who can support and help me? Because that vision, those people I came to support and help, are more important than me wanting to look good or being scared of what other people may say. There's also a beautiful thing, there's a phrase I really love, which says, after a certain age, there's certain weights you should not want to keep on yourself, and that's the weight of other people's opinions, right? So I want to say to every woman, you're worthy of your dream. Step into that essence which is only yours. Other people may not understand or even agree with you, but trust me, your tribe is there. Those you came to serve are there. And it's important to support yourself and fill your cup, because if you do not, you will burn out. And when you burn out, then you cannot shine bright any longer. And those that you came to serve will not be able to find you. So that's what I have to say. I hope it supported you in some way. And I'd love to wish everybody love and light. You're muted, Téa.
Hang on, there we go. I thought I pressed the button. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Yes, wow. And so many great nuggets and so many great pointers there. And, you really made me think there when you were saying, obviously, we need accountability. We need somebody that can hold you to higher esteem, someone that can speak life into you, somebody that, and you've been one of those for me, because Dr. Marina and I often have this conversation about conditioning. We've been conditioned. We also have these neural pathways, like Janice and everyone here would know. Many of us, have done, we know about, neuroscience and stuff like this. But something I've recently learned is that in the creative process, when you hook yourself into that dream, right, and you're pulling yourself up, along the way, all the stuff's going to come up, right? I talked about it the other day. I was like, you're diving into the ocean. You want to swim to the other side. And on the way, there's like stuff in your face. And you're like, oh, the junk is just coming into your face. And you are literally like, I just want to give up. I just want to stop swimming, right? And that's when you need those people that are in the boat and they're saying, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. And they're helping to clear the crap, and they're helping to get rid of the stuff, because your mind wants to keep you safe. And like you said, if you call me out often and you're like, Téa, are you committed to your dreams or are you committed to your comfort? And I'm like, oh, Boletui, okay, I'm committed to my dreams, you know, and I keep swimming because it's so easy. We want to follow the path of least resistance. And what is the path of least resistance? The path of least resistance is that path that's the easy one. It's just giving up and just going the easy way, right? And when you have a team, when you have an A team, when you have people that can support you, when you have people that, and guys and girls, as you can see, this is part of my support team. I speak to Krista all the time. I have all these amazing people in my life that support me, that are part of my framework, right? That I've put in place to be able to keep going at my dream. They believe in me, I believe in me, and I've put the right people in place to come on board with me and sail the ship with me. And so that's my key takeaway from what you said, Boletui, but thank you so much. Yeah, you know, everybody needs a Boletui in their life, right? And let me tell you something around burnout, and this woman knows her stuff. She is helping many women to thrive, not in a burnout kind of way. So thank you, Boletui. Thank you so much. So without much further ado, I'm going to bring on board our next amazing speaker. All the way from the US of A, we've got the amazing Valerie Ireland. Valerie and I met a couple of years ago on a kind of summit, kind of challenge summit thing, and we've been you know, to and froing ever since. But let me do her the honors and let me read you her bio. So Valerie Ireland is a transformational health coach and mentor with over 15 years of experience in mental health, nutrition, natural healing, and strengthening the body through strategic movement. Her passion is supporting women, conquering defeat and frustration, and when it comes to relationships with food and their body, going from feeling trapped and powerless over food and emotions to becoming transformed and empowered to the core, fully alive and activated, healthy and whole. Valerie is a dedicated wife and mother, and when she's not helping women break the chains of powerlessness, she's running a baseball mom with her 2 boys and supporting her husband, who's a doctor of osteopathic medicine, practicing prevention. So Valerie, you know, she has had her story, her struggle, her battle with food and food addiction and all this kind of stuff. So I'm really looking forward to you sharing this with us, because you've held the dream, Val. You've held the dream. So welcome. And thank you for joining us in this summit.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
All right, awesome. Well, it is a pleasure and an honor to be here and surrounded by this amazing, powerful women in the stage. And thank you for your invitation. And you two are a dynamic duo that are just causing this ripple effect of greatness. And I love today's topic, or this summit's topic of dreaming and dreaming big, because so often I see so many people around that have forgotten how to dream. And that was me. Like, dream is not just sleeping. the dream that you have in the sleep, dream is to be able to have that mental capacity to imagine even beyond what's possible or what you are aware of. And so there's so many layers into that, and it really truly is a world of possibility out there. And as some of you have shared so eloquently and so powerfully, I know that I have possibly a different take, but at the end, we're all part of this amazing world, universe, body, and so we're not, uniquely separate. We are always, intrinsically united. And so I love, first of all, my story is vast, and yes, it is one of transformation. And I often relate, and as I identify with the transformation of the butterflies, as you can see behind me. And it was many years ago that I initiated this process of transformation. But what took me there was I was in complete darkness, in complete, I was wearing, like somebody, like the biggest weight that you wear belongs to others, like she said. I was wearing the weight of the world on me. And it looked as if pain was it was the only sensation that I knew how to feel. And because it was so hard due to many past events that occurred in my life, I felt like I had to like numb them because I couldn't cope with them. So yes, as Téa said, food became my coping mechanism. And so it is for so many people nowadays. Why? Because food is readily available, it's legal, it's always there. That's one reason. And the other thing is it's what the media says, what the culture says. That's another thing where it's being pushed to you. And the other side of it is the people that are controlling what's put in the food that makes us want more. Ingredients that honestly, they were never supposed to be there to begin with, that are keeping our bodies sick. So although my dependence was 70% mental and 30% physical, it was a real struggle to be able to depart from that dependence. In my journey of becoming, I became aware that it wasn't just what I was eating, but it was what was eating me alive. And what was eating me alive was the fact that I really never had a chance to live my life fully. At a young age, I had to stop being a child to become an adult. There were many circumstances in my family that I felt like I had to step in and step up. Later, I understood it's because I was made innately to be a leader. But I'm also a lover. I speak, love is the language, the loudest language that I speak. And also my gifts are to be compassionate and intuitive. So I innately saw other people's problems and I put them on me. And so, yes, that became a really heavy burden to carry. And yes, really early on, I was robbed from my childhood, but at the same time, I took on the role of, okay, what do I need to do? And in order to cope with that, that's when I turned to the thing that didn't judge me, didn't hit me, was always available. It was comforting. It always made me feel good in that moment. But then in turn, I felt like I had to continue because it was feeding my guilt and shame. And it became a vicious cycle that kept me stuck in this pattern that kept digging my hole even deeper. But why do I say this? It's because food is just one of the things we turn to when we feel perhaps inadequate to take action into our next level. Or perhaps we have not been exposed to what's available and possible for us, because you don't know what you don't know. I didn't know that I could live a life that I can feel my emotions, express them freely, and then move on. I had to be contained in this world of pretend that everything was okay in order to move on to the next thing, because in the outside world, I was commanded that I needed to do the next thing. Later, I realized that being in that world of pretend wasn't a safe cocoon that I made it be. It was a cage. It was keeping me trapped and stuck. And so I see so many people that have not been given the opportunity to really have the fullness of self-expression, and they live accordingly to what everybody says you should do. And they don't tap into the amazing power that there is into being uniquely you. And so the power is given away into people, situations, things, food, among other things. So as I said, in my journey of becoming, I realized that it's just not just what you eat, but what's eating you. And it's honoring that. Honoring your feelings, per se, as the deepest possession that you have. And tap into them. Give room and space to them. Because it's already occupying a space in your body, scientifically proven, if you don't honor it. How do you honor it? You feel it, you let it go, you let it flow. We're a body of movement, right? And most of our body is water. So we must flow. And so are our emotions. See, what I see in society nowadays, we are conditioned to believe in certain ways, dictated by what one says, the other says, and we just become followers. And it's confusing nowadays. And it's a really loud arena out there. And it's so often people walk around stressed. Why stressed? Because they have an overwhelmed life with an underwhelmed soul. And what is our soul? In our soul, we have our mind, our will, and our emotions. And so our mind, as many of you have expressed so beautifully, our mind it's a very powerful place, and everything stems from the mind, from the thought to the feeling, to the emotion, and to the decisions that we make. Everything stems from that. Everything stems from the mind. And the mind is conditioned to believe things as in the past we have been taught. I was never taught or given the possibility of dreaming. Never. I started dreaming very much later on in my life, that I allowed myself to dream. But it was in me. It was in my soul, deep in my soul, with all my emotions, right? I touch my heart because it's in the heart. So the emotions need to be honored. If we have our mind that dictates our emotions and that lead into us making decisions, which is our will, we have free will. And this is what many people that are around that come into my world, they forget that they have the power to choose. They forget they have the power to say yes or no. They forget they have the power to activate that inside, in the mind and in the heart. So it's all combined. So often I give this visual: the mind, the emotions, and what's the will? The decisions you make, which stem on the words you use to say to yourself, which stem in the mind, right? From the heart to the mind. The words you use to say to others, so you can speak light or death, is in the power of your tongue. Or, same for the mouth, as it goes out is what comes in. So it's really important that we decide, right? So how do we connect this to dreaming big? Is steering your health, starting with a relationship, which is a very intimate relationship with food, which is what we put inside. And so it's what we decide, the relationship with food, and like honoring all that we are, right? Mind, will, and emotions, and starting with the relationship with food. And then I don't know, I'm receiving messages saying I lost my train of thought. And so I'm going to wrap it up. I think my time is up. But so how do I connect it to the dreams? Because you need to, think of your body as a ship, and then you're a manager of your ship. So you're a stewardship. You need to steward your body into health for your purpose. Many people talk about wealth and they forget health. And health
That's so
is
true.
wealth.
Yeah.
So
right. Well, how can you build a dream if your body's broken, right? And if you've got all these things wrong with your ship, exactly like you said, if you've got an unhealthy ship, it ain't sailing anywhere.
Yes.
Thank you, Valerie. Wow. Yes, you're so right. And it's the whole person, right? We are the whole person. Mind, body, soul, everything, heart, it is all connected. And longevity needed for the journey, right? We need that longevity for the journey. So thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming and sharing with us. You shared so many beautiful nuggets. I know you were really nervous about this, but I just wanted to say you were amazing. You were brilliant. And I want you to tell your story more, because there are so many beautiful parts, Mona the butterfly, all this kind of stuff that you need to be sharing with the world. And, part of Dr. Marina's mission in the world is be seen, be heard, be you. And so much of what you said is part of that. And we are here to facilitate that, right? For you to be seen, to be heard, to be yourself, and to, to create this dream, And thank you, Valerie. What a great reminder that we are not just the work we do, but we're also the food we eat and how we look after our bodies and ourselves. So Thank you so much, Valerie. So we've come to halfway. We're on the hour. Thank you so much for all our speakers who were part of the first half of our summit. Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We are now going into our second hour of the summit. We've got our next batch of guests coming on, and just really wanted to thank everybody who came and shared their story and came and kept our inspiration hour going. And so just kind of resetting the room here and making sure that everybody that's joining us is in a good place. You have a comfort break, have a quick little comfort break. And then we're going to be kicking off with the next part of our 24-hour Dream Big Summit. And we want to invite you, if you're a listener to the summit and if you're enjoying this first 24-hour Dream Big Summit, we host about 8 of these right throughout the year. And we want to invite you to come and join Rich Women's Society, right? Come and join the movement. Come and check us out. And, we're running an exclusive lifetime deal for you to become part of Rich Women's Society and be part of this amazing tribe. We host live calls like this on a daily basis. So as we're doing the summit, I particularly, Dr. Marina and I run a room every Wednesday at midday where I invite a whole bunch of guests and we ask pertinent questions and we talk about those questions for about 30 minutes, 45 minutes max, but it's about half an hour, about 30 minutes of just really great candid conversation, asking questions of ourselves, because I am of the notion that know thyself, right? The more you know yourself, the more self-awareness you have, the less blind spots you have, the better you can do in business, the bigger your dreams can be. And if you know yourself, you know where to steer your rudder. You know that, what your strengths are and what you need to build on and where you need to do a bit of work as well. So come and join us at Rich Women's Society. We also have other speakers. We have an 8 a.m. call every day on Clubhouse. The BU room, it's growing, it's expanding, it's beautiful. It's an amazing room to be part of. There is the Rich Daily Soul Inspiration, the Rich Daily Sound Inspiration with Diana. And there are so many different rooms that we are hosting right throughout the day on Clubhouse, but also here on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube. Make sure you follow us, you subscribe, you turn on the notifications so you are notified when we next go live. So, and we were always looking for guest speakers. So send us a message if you're on Clubhouse, connect with us on Instagram, send a message, because I'm always looking for speakers for my stage. We're always looking for speakers for our 12 p.m. midday on a Wednesday slot. so we can ask you those important questions. You can share your wisdom, and you can be part of working with us at the Inspiration Desk. Right, so moving on to our next guest. Oh man, you're in for a treat. I absolutely love this woman. She is my sister from another mister. Honestly, you know, I don't even remember when we met. It feels like I met this woman a lifetime ago. And her story has just inspired me and kept me going. And talk about somebody that, that's been through the mill and that's done it all. And her legacy is so positive. Her legacy is so inspiring. And I'm so honored that she is coming to us all the way from my beautiful home country, South Africa. And I really feel that I can call her my sister. She is my soul sister. And it's the beautiful Krista Possible. So Krista describes her life as an adventure filled with misses, struggles, strengths, forgiveness, courage, and triumph. And let me tell you, this woman is up for adventure. She definitely is an adventure to be with. And from her life experiences, she has uncovered her life's purpose, discovered the power that lies within, and discovered her authentic self in the most magical ways. In her journey, she was born as Krista de Kock. She married and became Krista van der Merwe, and then she emerged as the butterfly, which is the beautiful Krista Possible. Changed her name and all. A living testament to the value in life's valleys and the power of living purposefully. The best part is that she shares abundantly what she has learned. She is passionate about love for self and love for other people, and she passionately shows people that how amazing they are, and she guides them to see the value of who they are so that they can unleash the magic from within them. Absolutely. She has this dreams come true thing going on. Always dreams come true, and she absolutely believes that anything is possible. With Krista Possible, anything is possible. Life is magic, and that you are the magician, and that everybody who seeks from within will find their own magical way. So beautiful soul sister Krista Possible, thank you so much for joining us today, and so wonderful to have you here. Krista, share your incredible story with us. I know that you dream big. If anybody dreams big, it's Krista Possible. So welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Téa. Good evening, everybody. Yes, Krista Possible, tuning in from South Africa. And when Téa asked me to come and join you guys and come and just share my story, I thought, you know, that imposter syndrome that kicks in like, oh, my story, is it really going to change someone's life? And I just had to put that aside, you know, that fear of judgment and that fear of not being good enough, not being successful enough, not having a great enough story. And it's just human. It's just humanness that kicks in when you get an opportunity to really speak from the heart. And as Téa said, I started out as Krista de Kock, born one of a twin, in a very small town here in South Africa. And then my dream was to get married and have children. That was the only dream I had. That was as big as I could dream at that stage. And after my marriage, had a beautiful journey, beautiful journey for 16 years. And then all of a sudden it ended and I was devastated. And I actually can't understand why I was devastated if I had to take about 30 different capsules a day to cope with my marriage. But the whole white picket fence dream crashed down, and it was in 2014 on Christmas Eve that I was lying on the ground in the kitchen and struggling to breathe because of an overdose of pills that I took trying to take my own life. And it was in that moment where I really had this one-on-one conversation with God. And if I speak about God, it's not in a religious way, it's just my journey, just sharing my experience. And I remember God asked me, Krista, do you really want to die? And I had to think about that for a moment. And I said to God, no, I really just don't want to hurt anymore. That's all. And there was so many things that went through my mind, through my heart. It was as if I was actually sitting next to myself. And I said to God, I'm like a complete fuck up. I'm a mess. I just don't think I deserve the forgiveness. And in that moment, it's something that will never ever leave me. And I will always remember that. And I will always want to teach people that, or tell people that, is that I heard God speak to me. And I think I actually heard my inner self and my higher self, the voice of God. When you listen to your heart, you will always hear the voice of God. And God said to me, Krista, there is nothing to forgive. It's only you that is judging yourself. And in that moment, I really didn't know what it meant. All I knew and all that went through my mind is, how am I going to survive this? What is the implications going to be of this overdose? And what is people going to say? Am I going to end up in institution, losing my children after the divorce? Am I going to be diagnosed as crazy? And what am I? Who am I? Who am I? So it was the first time, a few days after that, I survived, and I was still locked up in the house, and I didn't have any major complications of the overdose, and I just had to go through that process and wean myself off of that. And it was also when I heard about Anthony Robbins, and it was a 7-minute video where he helped someone to stop stuttering. And I thought, this guy is like very close to God, and he's going to change everything for me. He's going to change my life. How am I going to get to Anthony Robbins? So the first thing in my mind is, I have this house. I don't owe any money for this house. So I'm going to sell my house. I'm going to buy every single ticket that I possibly can to go to every single Anthony Robbins event that I possibly can. And Anthony Robbins is going to fix me. At that stage, I couldn't hear properly. And it was because of years of abusing prescription medication. And also my sight was really bad. But nevertheless, I sold my house and I bought all the tickets I could. And I went on my first trip around the world to Anthony Robbins trainings. And I remember I couldn't properly hear, as I say. So in the meditations, I couldn't close my eyes because I had to lip read. And I thought, this is my chance. This is my chance. I'm going to sneak up on the stage when everyone's eyes are closed. And by the time everyone's eyes open, I will be on the stage and Anthony Robbins is going to fix me. And I was nearly about 2 steps up when one of the security guards grabbed me, and I started crying desperately. And I said, listen, I sold my house. I spent all my money basically to come and ask Anthony Robbins to help me. And I remember Anthony Robbins saw me, but the security guards took me outside, and I felt completely defeated and hopeless. And luckily, I had a few other tickets for other events as well. And one of them was Fiji. And Fiji, there was only 80 people that goes to the event in Fiji. And I thought, okay, this is my chance to get up close and personal with Anthony Robbins. So keep in mind, at that stage, I didn't have any education, or I didn't study. I wasn't very clued up with life. I didn't even know how to pay a water and electricity bill. That is how naive I was. And that is just, it was my husband's way of protecting me, just taking care of everything. So I wasn't streetwise. I wasn't really wise and clued up about life. So I got there, and it was life mastery and wealth mastery, and totally overwhelmed about the amounts of information and processes that we go through, that I decided, no ways, I'm going to drown myself. I'm in Fiji, and I'm just going to swim into the sea. No one is going to miss me. And I remember in the water, this is now my second time that I tried to commit suicide. In the water, I heard a voice again, and it was God again. It says, Christa, no one is coming to save you. And at that stage, I actually, on the one side, I wanted to die, and on the other side, I wanted to be saved. And no one came out to save me. So I washed out on the beach. And the first thing that came up in my mind is, because I said to God, listen, I'm swimming into the sea and I'm not coming out until I know exactly who I'm going to be. I can't be this useless and this clueless and not knowing who I'm going to be. I've been a wife for 16 years. I've been a mother for 12, and that's all I know. There's nothing else that I know. So who am I going to be? And the first words that came up was Christa Possible. So at that stage, there was a cartoon, a Disney cartoon, Kim Possible, and she had this sidekick, Ron Stoppable. And I remember the hero that she was always, and she's saving the world and saving everyone. So I decided, okay, I'm going to become Christa Possible. I had no idea how it was going to look like. I just knew that, okay, I'm going to own it, and this is who I'm going to be. So I went to the event the next day, and everyone was like, where have you been? You know, you've been missing for 2 days. And I told my story, and I told them I'm going to be Christa Possible, coming back to South Africa, making everything possible, having a few bucks, like a few million left of the house that I sold, and I'm going to build this amazing ranch, and I'm going to show people that everything is possible and nothing is impossible for you. Only to not know anything about paperwork and paying the contractors to build this ranch for me, and they left with my money, and I went to various court cases to try and get my money back, but unfortunately I didn't sign any papers. I just gave my money away in trust, and that was a big failure for me in my life. And I felt so freaking ashamed. I couldn't phone my family to say, listen, I'm about 500 kilometers from home and I lost all my money. So I ended up living in my car for 2 months, in hotel parking lots, sleeping there and sneaking in with different stories in different gyms every morning to take a shower, do my hair, put some makeup on, and just sit in my car for the rest of the day. Still not being able to have the courage to tell my family I absolutely need help. There were days when I really had to decide if I'm going to buy airtime for my phone to phone my children, or am I going to buy food. It got to such a point where there was just no other choice than to phone home and tell them, listen, I need a place to stay, I need food, I'm malnourished, I'm emotionally drained, and I'm just ready to give up. I need saving right now. So my family said to me, come Christa, come home, and I started over in a caravan. It was like I was just so ashamed of, I felt like a complete fool and like a fake. It's like, what the fuck am I doing? I've changed my name to Christa Possible, and now I can't even look after myself or make anything possible. I can't save the world like I wanted to save the world and show everyone that anything is possible. But it was a journey for me for forgiveness, the forgiveness that I had to take for myself, and putting the shame down. Guilt and shame was my drug of choice at that stage. It was easy for me to feel guilty, and it was easy for me to feel ashamed. And for me not to go back into the addiction, to try and numb this shame and this guilt and just work through it, sitting in the caravan. I didn't have a place for my daughter to stay. She had to live with my parents, and I'm living in the backyard in the caravan, and taking one day at a time and saying what is truly possible is not anything is possible. What is possible really means to me. And that was that, yes, there are infinite possibilities out there to make things happen. But it doesn't mean that I have to make everything possible, and I have to prove to the world that everything is possible. I just need to be open to the possibilities and show people that you need to dream. And even if you dream so freaking big that it scares you, and maybe 70% of all the crazy things that you dream up might not come true, not in this lifetime, but still you have to dream it. You have to have that courage to dream and know that there's a possibility for someone else to do it. There's a possibility for me to create something in another way, but it doesn't mean that I have to make everything possible. And putting that down, that responsibility that I gave myself to show the world and prove the world that anything is possible, and just say that there is unlimited possibilities for everyone out there. There's no end to possibilities. That is the story. And I also remember I had the most fucked up boyfriend, and sometimes you learn the most from the people that are most screwed up in life. And he was a huge drug addict, and I couldn't understand why things didn't want to end at that stage when I was like really going through all the shit. And I asked him, when is this going to end? And he pissed me off so much when he said to me, when you decide that it stops. And I couldn't understand. It's like, I'm not choosing this. I'm really not choosing. It's beyond me. It's like, it's out of my control. My situation is out of my control and I can't stop it. And to just get that power and see that I really have a choice. Maybe I don't have a choice now at this stage, and I can choose today. I have all the money in the world that I need to have, like financial freedom and time freedom and location freedom. But I do have the choice to what I think today, what I feel today, what I believe today. And there is not so many things that I need to learn, except that the magnificence that I am and that everyone is, the expressions that we are of a God that keeps on giving and keeps on expressing himself in every single living human being that there is. That's my mission, is to make sure that whenever I walk away from someone, that they feel love, that they feel invincible, even though it might mean that they won't make all their dreams come true. At least I can just be there for them and show them their worth and show them that it's okay to dream fucking big. It's okay to dream like extraordinary big. And it doesn't mean that you have to make all your dreams come true right in this few years. It just means you can dream whatever you want to. And just believe in that. And anything is possible. Maybe not for you at that stage, but for someone else, it might become possible.
Absolutely.
Possible.
Thank you, Krista. Thank you so much. Wow. I always think, and you survived all of it. You survived every day of it, right? And you've come through it. And I've known you for quite some time now, and I see you grow and blossom, and you just keep holding on, and you keep holding on, and you keep going in, and you're not looking out for saving anymore. You're actually just looking in, and that is the most important thing, right? And you believed it. You got that word that anything was possible, and you held on to that. So thank you so much. Thank you for being up so late, all the way over in South Africa, and for sharing with us and dialing in to come and speak to us tonight. So we really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
You.
Wonderful, Krista Possible. Thank you. Our next guest is an old friend of mine. Oh golly gosh, I've gone and taken them all out and brought them up on the stage. And our next guest is the beautiful Karen Metem. Karen is a sign language interpreter with over 25 years of experience working in different domains, from legal, medical, education, theater, media, community, and making her an excellent communicator of people from an abundance of backgrounds and life experiences. She shares with boldness, authenticity, and fun. She's passionate about personal, professional development and has traveled the globe to be taught and mentored with some of the world's top trainers and coaches. She's currently pioneering a unique movement in the UK as the first founding ambassador of Girl Power Alliance in the whole of Europe, empowering women to rise up in the marketplace, to be bold, to be a bold light on a hill, and to step into everything that God has called them to be, while creating financial sovereignty and a legacy for themselves and their future generations. Karen, you've always dreamed really big. Ever since I've known you, you've had big dreams. You definitely are a big dreamer. And, you know, you and I've had these conversations about how you've taught your 4 boys to be such big dreamers too. So I'm really excited about having this conversation with you this evening and talking to you about dreaming big and what that means to you, and you just sharing with us how you've always held the dream. So Karen, welcome, and thank you for coming on stage with us this evening.
Hi, thank you so much, Téa. It's such an honour to be here. And we are here from the city of Doncaster today because we've just been recognised as a city in the beautiful Yorkshire. When Téa told me about the title and the subject of this, I was so excited because as she said, I love to dream big. And I've always taught my boys to do that. And one of our traditions that we created as a family was to actually sit down on New Year's Eve or round about that time, and we'd sort of literally give them a blank piece of paper and say, write down whatever you want to do this year. Where do you want to go? What do you want to see? Where do you want to visit? And we would write down, and from the age of being about 5, and we would literally just say to them, write down whatever you want. There is no limit. It doesn't matter how expensive, how extravagant, how crazy it sounds, write it down. And then, you know, just such an incredible night. And then we would sit down and we would read them all together and just see what people have put down. We sort of like have a big box and we just pull out, and it's like, oh, we want to go to the Giraffe Hotel in Kenya. Amazing. One of them wanted to see the sunset from the top of a mountain, and it's like, so there were things that literally didn't cost anything, and other ones that's like, okay, Giraffe Hotel in Kenya, that's going to be interesting. And there was such a range when we gave them the ability to dream and create and write down. And I was laughing actually, because I was looking at some of my things that I'd put down. I'll come to that a bit later, but I tell you what, we made sure we went through that list and said, what are we going to make happen this year? How can we make that happen? One of them was to see how many countries we could visit in a day. And when we went to Austria, I'm sort of like, we can actually drive from Austria. We could have breakfast in Italy and then drive across to Slovenia and have lunch in Slovenia. And we ended up literally visiting 3 countries in one day, and just the look on the kids' faces when we actually managed to tick that off. When we went to places like, not Lanzarote, Tenerife, and hired a car and drove up Mount Teide. We'd got blankets, we'd got hot chocolate, we'd literally packed up a whole picnic, and found a place right at the base of Mount Teide and watched the sunset from the top of there, which was just stunning because there was no light pollution, because we'd actually driven through a cloud bank. And just watching the kids' faces of like, this is what we talked about 2 years ago, and this is actually happening now. And when I went back to some of the things that I put down on those times, and I let my imagination run wild, and what is it I really wanted to do? And some of those things were, I'd put down, I want to write a book, I want to share my story, I want to be a public speaker. And some of these were like, where are these coming from? I have no idea. I'm just letting the ideas flow. And one of the things that I'd actually searched for round about this time was looking for Christian women who had made over $1 million in network marketing. And I was drawn to network marketing. I have no idea, because I've told myself for the last 10 years that I'm the worst network marketer there is, because I used to love the products and give a lot of them away. But what I realized is that I was drawn to the community. I was drawn to the personal and professional development. I met people like Téa through network marketing, and realizing that, you know, the amount of times that I was coming back and saying, God, I have no idea why you want me to stay in network marketing, because any time I thought about letting go, it hurt. And I'm like, but I'm stuck at this. I'm terrible at this. But I still kept going. And, you know, and just the people that I have met through that industry, and the amount of times that I have said, okay, if these are my dreams, I need to get prepared for these to happen. And I need to start putting things in place to prepare to actually receive the dream, you know. And you can speak life over your dreams, and it doesn't matter how far away they feel. It's like, I have to prepare my heart and myself to receive that. And the amount of times that we used to go over to, both me and my husband used to go over to America, to so many different training events. I remember one time we went to LA, and no joke, it was only as the plane was coming into land, and I saw the Hollywood sign out of the plane window, and I'm like, oh, that LA, like Sunset Boulevard and Rodeo Drive, and that LA, oh wow. And no joke, the conference was actually still in the airport grounds. It was still in LAX. Our bedroom was actually backing on to the runway, and we flew in on Thursday. We had the conference Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We flew out again on Monday. We never even got out of the airport. We literally stayed there. And he's like, do you know what? I will come back one day to LA and I will see the sights if I want to, but I'm not here for that purpose at the moment. And I know that, like, now I'm doing speaking, I'm being invited to speak. I've written my story. I've shared my story in a journal for women that are reading the Bible cover to cover in a year. I'm now aligned with one of the best businesses ever, because it just brings everything together, that it's like, I get to build a community of women and build up a community of women that are saying, I've got a dream in my heart. I want to earn extra streams of income. I want to be in a community of like-minded women that are empowering each other to get up and stand up and be a bold light on a hill. And I get to do all that, but I've had to prepare my heart to receive the dreams that I wrote down 10 years ago. And, you know, just even now, I look at my kids and they're sort of like turning 20, 21 this year. And even now, if it's a really gorgeous summer night, I will say to them, do you want to go to the mountain? And for them, they were like, yes, let's go. And we will still go to the mountain. We will still drive an hour. We will go to Mamtor. We'll climb that mountain and we will all sit there and just watch the sunset. We will still say, right, are we going to do a European road trip? And as a family, and that was one of my dreams that I wrote down, that I want us as a family to just enjoy time together, enjoy spending time together, and just having that. But I had to prepare for that 10 years ago, the things that we have now. You know, the things that we've built up, I had to prepare my heart for it. I had to speak out. Yes, I want to be a public speaker. Yes, I want to write a book. Yes, I want to share my story. Was it hard the first time I stood up and spoke about that? Oh my days, yes. I did it with a dry throat and my hands were shaking and my stomach was in knots and I wanted to run to the toilet, and all of them at the same time. And it's like, I had to get used to, okay, God, this is what you're calling me to. I am going to step out from one level to another, to another, to another, because I'm preparing my heart and I'm speaking that life into me. So, yeah, it's just been an incredible journey. And just to be able to do that with my boys is just phenomenal now.
Thank you, Karen. And, you know, I'm listening to you and such an important message. And I think what you're saying is so important for so many women to remember, is that when the day you plant the seed is not the day that you eat the apple, right? is you saying you had to prepare your heart, you had to prepare yourself for that, right? And there is a journey on the way to the dream. And it's like I always teach and talk about the creative process. And the creative process is everybody that creates anything, any painter, Van Gogh, anybody had a blank canvas in front of them. And then they stood back and then they decided what they wanted to put on the canvas, right? But you've got to stand back and think about what is it that I want to put on this canvas. And then you take the next right step towards that. But you've got to be clear on what you want to put on the canvas. And, I have a 10-year-old and we've been doing the same thing with her. We've been a bit lax with the other two and I'm spurring them on. But Nyla's turned out to be a bit of a master manifester because she makes those lists. Every holiday, she makes a list. She puts it on the fridge. These are all the things we're going to do on the holiday. And they get ticked off. And the others are like, oh, and I'm like, you guys need to make your list. Where's your list? Make that list. And the same applies to us as adults. How many of us don't have a list? How many of us stop dreaming? So thank you, Karen. Thank you so much for that. And, two important things you said is write it down, right? Make it clear, write the vision down, make it clear. And then the other thing is you don't eat the apple the day you plant the seed. You keep nurturing it, keep watering it. And I just want to commend you. You have done that in all the years that I've known you. What is it now? A good 8 years or something. Right. All those years I've known you, you have never given up on your dream. There have been moments in my kitchen, at my kitchen table, where you've come and you're like, what do I do? Do I give up? Is it time to throw in the towel? We've had those talks, right? But you've kept going. You've never given up on the dream. So Karen, thank you so much. Tenacity, right? Tenacity, that is it. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Wow, we are definitely moving on and we've got two beautiful, wonderful speakers left. One of them is our token male of the evening. So great to have him here with us. Come on, we couldn't just do it for the ladies. It's important to have men in our lives, and I believe that we should always honor the men in our lives. And even though it's Rich Women magazine and we predominantly serve women, we have our male counterparts, our men that come and support us because, it's yin and yang. It's up and down, it's good and bad, and it's male and female. There is nobody that gets favored above anybody else. And I believe we can all learn from each other, whether we're a male or a female. We're raising daughters, and daughters need dads, and daughters need male role models, right? If we don't have male role models for our daughters, then how will they know, what the right man is and what the right way is to be treated? So we do need the males in our circles. And so I just wanted to welcome up on stage Harsh. Harsh has been through many struggles, having been through many struggles, and as a recovering gambling addict, he truly knows what it is to hit rock bottom. He spent almost 250,000 on his gambling, and this addiction nearly costing him everything he loved, meaning his children, his wife, his family, and even his own life. With newfound life, he turned his pain into purpose, and through entrepreneurship, and he went on to from a failing business to generating multiple 7-figure contracts in less than 1 year during the pandemic. He has some amazing wins and some rather spectacular fails too. And he now dedicates his time to serving others to better their lives and businesses by sharing everything he has learned. Harsh, welcome and thank you for joining us on stage. And please come and share with us in those dark moments and through your story of ups and downs, what it meant for you to still be dreaming big. What does dream big mean to you? Welcome.
Well, first of all, welcome everyone. So first of all, I just want to thank you for that lovely introduction. And also I wore this pink turban for a very reason, because there's queens on this panel. And anyone that knows me knows I've got a rare collection. It's like walking into my turban collection is like walking into Eminem's world. So look, I'm going to get into this because you're right. My story isn't a rosy one. As a Sikh, an Indian, born in the UK, I was growing up around the sort of traditional Indian community, which was, go to school, get an education, go to university. And if you're Indian, and people might resonate with this, you've got to get a typical Indian degree. And now what I mean by that, you have to go to university and study doctor, medicine, accountancy, pharmacy, business, law, one of those ones. And I did. I conformed to the stereotypical way of Indians. And I'm basically saying, look, I went to university, I studied law, and I quickly realized when I finished my degree, that wasn't for me. And I finished university in 2007. I actually set up an online business. And within 2 years, I grew that from 0 to 165,000 subscribers, which then I sold that business. And then within a year of that selling that business, I lost all that money. And I went back into a corporate organization and I felt ashamed. I felt, like a bit of a failure, and I knew I couldn't tell my parents about what had happened and why I lost that money. But then I went through life in a corporate jobs. I worked for some great companies. I worked for some really high IT companies. I worked for the Middletons here in the UK. I worked for one of the top private jet companies. The thing with that was everyone thought I had a perfect lifestyle. They thought, this is hard. He's the people pleaser. He's the life and soul of the party. He's one that you can go to when you're feeling a bit down because he makes everyone happy. But the only person that wasn't happy was myself. And what I mean by that is I felt there's a sense of people talking about being lonely. But with myself, I had a lot of aloneness and abandonment within myself. So I could be speaking to any one of you right now, but I wouldn't be present with you. I was basically like a Tasmanian devil with my own thoughts. And that was because of my addiction to gambling. And it was June 2020. And I remember this morning very vividly where my wife came running up to me and asked me about what these things were on this phone. And instantly, my heart dropped to my stomach because I know what she'd found out and I know I disappointed her. It got to a point where we didn't know what was going to happen. We were talking about, some of the most drastic things about, losing this house, losing my family, losing everything that was close to me. See, I was trying to chase a jackpot when what I didn't realize, the jackpot was sitting right in front of me, my family. And as a result, from a young age, I was always told to people please. I was always told to do what everyone else wanted to do. So for the first time, I had to do one thing, which was put my ego aside, especially for men. Men have a lot of ego, which gets in the way. But in order for me to succeed with my family, because that's the most important thing for me at that time, was to build the trust back in my family. So I got therapy and I had to put my ego aside. And the reason I say that is because a lot of people are not pushing themselves. They're staying in their comfort zone because their egos are keeping them there. So I realized things need to change. I need to make this up for my family. And we're in the middle of a pandemic. No one's hiring. I couldn't get a job. So I decided to go and set up a business. And I remember, telling my wife about this whole journey and what I should be doing. And we sort of succinct with each other. And she goes, no, this is the right thing to do. Go out and do it. Even though it wasn't the right thing that she felt to do, it was something that we just had to do. And I'm not going to lie, it was hard. I had to build a business. I was that person that went on YouTube, went on Google, went on Facebook. I read books. And here's one thing I learned. I was learning all the wrong techniques in business. So I remember sitting on the sofa and I was about to pack it all in. I had my wife sitting next to me. I think she was watching EastEnders. If you're in the UK, you know what EastEnders are. And I was literally about to tell her I'm not going to do this until I saw an ad, and that ad changed the trajectory of my life. I realized that I needed help, but I couldn't do this alone. And when I did CBT through my therapy, there's one thing I learned, and it's this. Asking for help is a strength, not a weakness. And the more I got to realize that, the more I started respecting my own abilities. I'm now starting to focus on myself rather than other people. Look, in life, we have two choices. The choice of fear or the choice of commitment. And this is something that Sammy Davis Jr. said. Most of us are going through fear in life that's basically drowning out our commitment to the purpose that we really should be living. So I decided not to let the fear kick in. I decided to squash the fear. And as a result, I started slowly and surely working on the business. It took time. I had people judge me. I had my own family judging me. Even sometimes in my darkest hours, had these demons going, Haj, are you doing the right thing? Are you doing the right thing? And I realized this was the right thing. But I just had to lean into it, trust the process, be consistent and persistent. As a result, within 12 months, I won multiple seven-figure contracts. I was nominated Male Entrepreneur of the Year 2021. I retrained myself as a professional speaker because I wanted to come on stages like this and showcase my story. I won two awards for professional speaker. I'm doing my first TEDx this year. I'm going on to now doing talks at schools because I believe the next generation of children are our future, both boys and girls, and we need to empower them. But my purpose is bigger than that. The money's great. The business is great. Those are my career. But what's my calling in life? What's your calling in life? See, I realize this. When you don't get this right, you'll always feel like you're in the dark. You'll always feel like unhappy. You always feel like you're going to be hiding from something, and you're never really going to navigate where you need to get to. But once you get this right, you're going to be unstoppable. You will always navigate yourself through the light and the dark. What I'm talking about is embracing the darkness. See, what I mean by that is from a young age, what we taught about the darkness, it's scary. Think back to a time in your life when you were a kid, when you went to bed at night and you said to your parents or your loved ones, I'm scared because it's dark. What do your parents or your loved ones say to you? Close your eyes and everything will go away. Now, I disagree with that because what's that teaching us from a young age is to hide away from our problems as opposed to heading them straight on. So when you're closing your eyes, you're stopping from addressing those problems. You're stopping yourself to find out actually, what is this message? What is the darkness trying to tell me? See, when you're walking in the light, you're walking with your eyes open. Imagine now trying to walk in the dark with your eyes closed. You'll never get to where you want to get to. And that's the thing. This is why I'm dreaming bigger, because there are so many people out there in the world right now that are walking in the darkness, telling themselves that they're not good enough, telling that they don't deserve wealth, health, beautiful relationships, telling themselves that they're not worthy of these things. They're telling themselves that no one loves them, that why should anyone love them? This is not about money. This is not about business. This is about pain that people are going through, the same pains that I suffered. So I'm on this mission and journey to turn pain into purpose. And I'm only going to do that by letting people understand why they should be opening their eyes through the darkness. Because once you can open your eyes in the darkness, guess what? You can start seeing. Many of us are going in foveal. We're focusing on a problem. Just think, when you focus on a problem, what happens? It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Maybe you need someone in your life just to take you a step back. Get your head out the phones, head out of the laptops, head out of what's in front of you, and just put your chin up. Look at the distance. Put a wider perspective on life and see what beauty lies. Because once you can see the beauty in life and you can see what's out there, guess what? Now you have a different direction. You have a different perspective. You get to see what's out there, but also what's out there for you. And I want to leave this with every single person. And it's a beautiful quote from Esther Dean. Stars can't shine without the darkness. Now, I know every single person here on stage watching this are all stars. The problem is you're not embracing the darkness. I want you to start embracing the darkness, because what happens with the light and dark, it gets brighter and brighter and brighter, but also it will start showing you the light of where you need to get to. See, there's a saying in life, right? You might be telling yourself, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? And it's true. It might be happening to you, but it's not really happening to you. It's happening for you. So if it's happening for you, what are you doing for it? Take your light, Let that be the beacon of light that's showing you where you need to get to. These are things that your body's telling you. See, the unconscious mind is telling you what you need to do. Stop living in fear. Be that star. Be that beacon light for yourself and start being the guiding light, because in the guiding light, it's going to teach you so many things about where you need to get to. Embrace the darkness, my friends, and it will guide you to beautiful surroundings, beautiful places. It will start taking you out of pain and start giving you purpose. And I give you one gift. This is my gift to you. If your beliefs are feeling a little bit down, or you feel that your beliefs are limiting you, take my beliefs, borrow them because they're in abundance. And I extend my hand out to you. So take it, but do me a favor. Once you've gotten to where you get to, just give it back, because your beliefs are going to shine so bright. So my purpose is about dreaming bigger. I want your purpose about dreaming bigger. Step out of the darkness into the light and find what your purpose is in life. What's your calling? Once you understand what your calling is, the game changes. So I'm done speaking. Thank you for having me. And I hope that's answered your question.
Wow. Thank you so much. That was very, very powerful and incredibly beautiful. You see, you was all worth it in the end, right? And I think what we've heard tonight is that, yeah, absolutely, mic drop. So beautiful. Thank you. You know, I follow my intuition often, and I knew that I needed to reach out to you. And there's always a connection. There's always, sometimes you just meet a person and okay, and I had you on my show on Wednesday, and then having you on the show today, it's really such an honor, and thank you. And so many truths spoken about what is the darkness trying to tell me? What is the lesson in this? What is this part of my life trying to say? Because it's always trying to say something to us. And embracing that darkness. I've done, like you, I've done a lot of work. I did a lot of therapy and stuff, and then I spent years on the personal development hamster wheel, looking to fix myself, right? Because I felt so broken. I was so broken because of a past coming from abuse, all kinds of stuff, really horrific, complex childhood trauma. And when I became an entrepreneur, it caught up with me. It's like somebody opened a can of worms, because now I've got to trust myself, invest. I've got to put myself out there. And every time I did that, something came up and said, no, you can't, you're not good enough, all the stuff, the beliefs and everything came up. So I went on a journey like you to fix myself, right? I went, and I think Christoph spoke about it, and Karen, and, we pay thousands and thousands to trainers and all these kind of things. And we go on these missions to fix ourselves. And something you said that was really important was, it's that moment where your focus goes, your energy flows. And when I stopped fixing myself and I thought, I'm not broken, I don't need fixing. Behind me is a multitude of personal development books, and I don't read them anymore. I'll read spiritual books. I love Michael Singer, and I'm reading things that are enriching me. I'm no longer looking for the answer in a personal development book, because I realized that I'm not broken. I don't need fixing, right? I needed to embrace the darkness, to stop running away from the darkness and focus on the gems that I could find in the darkness. So thank you so much for that really beautiful reminder of that stars cannot shine without the darkness. And that pain that we felt, that we've gone through, that we've endured, it's liberated our light, right? It liberates your light, but you've got to break through. Every single seed needs to be planted to break through. But I want to remind each and every one of you that, I study quantum physics, and every oak tree, in that seed, the instructions to become the big oak is already there. It is written in the stars. It is in the quantum field, the instructions are there. And exactly like that for you and I, the quantum field holds instructions for us. So within you is already everything you need to express that dream. If that dream came as a beautiful seed in your soul, you already have what it takes. But you will have to go through the journey of a seed. You will have to be cracked open and broken open in order to grow that beautiful oak tree that you are meant to become in your life. So Harsh, thank you so much. What a powerful talk. What a powerful journey. What a powerful story.
Téa,
And
can I just drop some?
Yes.
Can I just drop one thing in this, because
Yes,
there's something that
absolutely.
you just said, and it's just triggered me off. Now, because you're right with the whole quantum world and things like that. See, here's the problem that people are doing, right? They're going out to dig for treasures, and they grow everywhere around the world. They go to America. They might go to South Africa. They might go to Australia. They go around the world to dig for the treasure, to find that golden nugget, to find that diamond. There's one place that has the most of an untapped natural resources, diamonds, gems in the world. And it's not external. It's right here in your brain. And people are not tapping into that.
I'm going to actually take it further. It's not even in your brain. It's in your heart. It's right here.
Yep.
Right
your brain,
here.
into your heart, through you.
Yeah. See, I look at it as the growth journey. I'm not saying you mustn't grow.
Actually, I have to say, Harsh, you are absolutely right. It is in your brain, because you see, in your brain you have gold, and gold is not a resource natural to Earth. We had scientists from NASA telling us we are stardust, each one of us. So I had to I didn't plan to say anything, but I had to make that very clear. It's a scientific fact. And more than that, I think we are socially conditioned to think that opportunities are out there. So we have to chase them. We have to dedicate our lives and energies, everything we are and everything we could be, for chasing those opportunities instead of becoming the opportunity we seek. So I think dreaming big is that trade, turning the how for the wow, for that experience of feeling abundant, of feeling that you are here for a greater reason than you could imagine. It's just a matter of remembering who you are destined to be. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Dr. Marina. Absolutely beautiful. Remembering who you are destined to be. It's written in the stars. It's already there. It's already within us. We just need to expand into it, right? We just need to expand into it and embrace it, right? Embrace it. So we've come to almost the end of our session now. We've got one more speaker left. And, you know, I'm really, really fond of this woman. She is such a gem. She has got such an incredible story, such an incredible background as well. And I'm just going to briefly read you her bio. So Carol Vinci is the founder of Productivity Tools and Insights, LLC, international author and speaker. She enjoyed a very successful corporate career in the fast-paced, challenging, high-growth information technology field while maintaining her personal interest in downhill skiing and competitive tennis. Her ability to understand process enabled her to navigate through multiple industries, including brokerage, banking, insurance, property, and casualty and engineering, to name a few. And her corporate role, she was a client contact who passed the client's business demands for products along to the engineering and programming staff. Carol's strengths include out-the-box thinking, crucial listening, unique solutions, and candid feedback. These skills combined with her trailblazing leadership makes her the person you and your team need if you want to accelerate growth in your business. She's worked in the venture capital arena, building teams and making connections with investors as well. But the uniqueness of this woman is that she was diagnosed with ADD and I'm going to let her tell you her incredible, powerful story and how she's used that to her advantage in her career and in her life to skyrocket results for herself and for others. So welcome onto the stage, Carol Vinci. Carol, thank you so much. You've just got to unmute yourself. Let me remind you, Carol, you're not unmuted. And all the way from New York, I believe, Carol, yes?
Yes, indeed. And thank you so
Welcome,
much,
Carol.
Téa. It's very interesting. When I looked at the topic of dreaming big, it wasn't until recently that I had a dream to run towards. And that was being able to understand the superpowers that are associated with attention deficit disorder and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Most people beat us up for the defects and the deficits and the things that are just beyond our reach, rather than complimenting us and providing the opportunity for us to excel in the things that can't be taught to other people. I mean, we have skills that are unique. You can't sign up for a course. Everybody talked about all of the coaching that you've been participating in. You can't sign up for a course to be creative. That's either something that comes very naturally, or it is a huge struggle that never quite misses or hits the mark. And you folks took a little bit of my introduction away when you were talking about what comes naturally to us, and that is the instincts. I had a very difficult childhood, not only ADD, which I only self-diagnosed within the last half dozen years, but I'm also dyslexic, which means that reading was an impossibility. I was and saw in, first grade readers was a complete challenge, which my father could not understand. I still, to this day, struggle with who and how. When I sit at my typewriter on my laptop and write something, I have to stop and think about which is the appropriate word. Even with all the accomplishments that I've been able to achieve in the business world, I can't manage ethnic names. It's embarrassing, and people think I don't care, but it literally is beyond my grasp. And I self-branded myself as stupid in first grade because I couldn't figure out the initials of another student in first grade when I wanted to be a class monitor. So rather than having a big dream when I was young, I ended up running away from what I felt was lack in my abilities. And in fact, what I ended up doing was intimidating my coworkers because I'm not stupid. And I've been on Zoom calls almost constantly over the last 2 years, and people would say, well, you're so smart. And I would honestly say, how can you tell? You've never met me. We're 3,000 miles away or 10,000 miles away. How could you possibly tell? And I didn't mean it to be arrogant. I just literally had no clue of how that came across. And I actually had a staff member tell me one time that I was intimidating my coworkers because I was leaving them in the dust. And I literally thought I was running as fast as I could just to keep up with them. That's how disconnected I was. And that leads to a lot of isolation. And it's also incredibly hard work. And that's the other thing that people don't realize. When you have ADD or ADHD, and I use both terms because a lot of women don't have the hyper characteristic. And I had a colleague say to me, if you had only talked about ADHD, I would not have connected with you because that's my brother. Boys and males tend to be hyper. I was chatting with a colleague of mine a couple of weeks ago, and I said, maybe my version of hyper is the fact that I can't stop working. But in terms of fidgeting or being disruptive, and interrupting, I don't exhibit that characteristic, which is where women go for decades sometimes not being diagnosed, because we don't fit into that typical version of what teachers recognize or what even the medical or therapeutic professions identify. And it's sometimes major changes in life that will trigger the symptoms. But we have to work incredibly hard to appear normal, to do the things that are typically expected of us, particularly as women. If you're in a relationship, it's typically your responsibility to keep track of all the birthdays, buy all the gifts, remember who won't sit next to one another at a dinner party, and get all the kids to and from school and social activities, where your male partner comes home and said, wow, I had a tough day. And all they did was work. Meanwhile, you did that in addition to everything else. So it is sometimes just a simple one little straw that breaks the camel's back that triggers your being diagnosed. The other thing, I was in a discussion earlier today that as women go through menopause and the chemical changes in our bodies will often trigger the symptoms of ADD and ADHD. And not that you need anything else to deal with in that challenging part of life, but that's sometimes where the symptoms appear. But one of the things that I was able to do through instinct is recognize what my body needed. So my nickname as a 3 and 4-year-old was Bunny, because given a choice between a raw cucumber and a piece of candy, I chose the raw cucumber because I knew that candy didn't make me feel good. And in college, when we would go out to dinner with some of my classmates, they would joke that they could order from me whenever they'd look at a menu in any type of restaurant, because they knew that I was, very consistent with, not high calorie food and not sweets. So, it was a joke. But in fact, it was something that my body recognized. And when one of the speakers was talking about, having breakfast, lunch, and dinner in 3 different countries, I became addicted to downhill skiing. Again, because of our brains don't secrete enough dopamine. So regular exercise and the challenge of quick decisions is something that stimulates the secretion of dopamine. So, I was a downhill skier. I played competitive tennis. I'm very competitive, so when I couldn't play singles in tennis with 25-year-olds, I switched to golf, and now I'm compulsive about golf, and I walk at least 36 holes of golf a week as a way to keep my brain in as much balance as possibly can be exerted without the negative behavior that some people fall into with illegal drugs and alcohol. Because the brain will satisfy that dopamine deficiency and use all of its creativity to make sure that that is handled properly. So it was a huge change in my life about the time when I first met Téa, that I transitioned from running away from being stupid to recognizing that the gifts that I was given in the sense of ADD and the superpowers that come along with that were something that I really had a responsibility to share with other people, particularly women, because we don't get the support and treatment from some of the resources that are more oriented to men, because that's where most medical studies are performed. And that it's my responsibility to take all of my ingenuity and all of my creativity to come across in a very positive way. I'm creating a deck of cards that's called the 15 Strengths and 15 Struggles of ADD and ADHD. I'm putting together a 3-step process because I was struggling with, when I first learned that I was ADD, I would have admitted to killing somebody before I would have spoken about my ADD. I was so embarrassed, and there's so much shame from not being able to do things that look so normal and easy for other people that I hid it. And then when I was able to get to the point of acceptance, that happened almost that I couldn't remember that transition. So I've been able to create a 3-step process, which is first awareness, helping people understand some of the behaviors, acceptance, which is the process that you start valuing yourself for the superpowers, and you accept the fact that there are certain things that if your life depended on it, you're not going to get done. And to be strong enough to ask for help, as the last speaker talked about. It is not a weakness to ask for help. It is a strength. You give them an opportunity to excel at something that they're good at, and you work as a team towards your objectives. And then the last A is action, and you can either choose to take action or you can choose to keep it a secret. I spoke to a woman at a networking event last month, and she said, it's nobody else's damn business that I have ADHD. And that's fine. If you're at the point where that's the choice that you make, that's fine. But I have chosen to be very vocal about it. Probably some people may say to the point where, there are other subjects or topics. But those are the 3 A's: awareness, acceptance, and action, so that you put yourself in a position where you can live a satisfying life. And that's the part that you may not get support from your family, direct family members. Sometimes they're the toughest audience. When I was in my corporate job, and I was fortunate to work for a company that encouraged changing jobs rapidly, my dad would say, well, what was wrong with the last job? He couldn't understand the process of striving to do something better. And even though I was running from the inability to do something rather than the positive stretch that I'm in, the state that I'm in now, he was very happy doing the same thing he had done for years. Personal choice. I was never that way. I always wanted to try to do more, to accept more responsibility. And now I'm in a position where I can thankfully look at all of my experience and be able to relate to people who are in high stress executive positions, who have this secret that is putting just a lot of burden on their physical systems, because, my adrenals are shot. It's good care as I take with myself of having a good diet and getting a lot of exercise. The stress has taken its toll, and I'm trying to help people alleviate that, avoid some of it, so that they don't get to have as much gray hair as I have before they're able to step up and acknowledge that there are easier ways of doing it. So, Téa, I thank you for this opportunity. I hope that I have given people some insight into some of the processes that challenge us in various parts of our lives, and that it's been able to motivate people with a bigger dream, that using their natural, creative superpowers is just the way we want to live our lives.
Wow, this was we need time to process. We need time to process. It's so much depth into what you shared and what you taught us, and I feel so humbled. Sometimes you just need to hear from somebody else, somebody who is delivering a message for you. And I feel everything you said was channeled. You've been a beautiful channel for us tonight in learning that dreaming is not a luxury. Dreaming is a necessity. And I feel that more and more is a moral duty. And this is why, as Richmond Society, we get together and we work at the Inspiration Desk. And we created a Soul Search Squad to give away the tools and the solutions. Somebody said to me, there are not enough solutions for dreaming big. And I'm thinking, no, there are plenty solutions. There are amazing solutions. There are not enough people to share them. And this is what we are doing right here, right now. So a very humbling thank you for your massive contribution.
I'm hoping that when I talk about the opportunities and the superpowers, that people have the confidence to step out of what roles other people have defined for them and really exert their, I want to say power, but their influence. Because when you step into a role that you're not expected to be able to achieve, it is a great opportunity for the other people in your lives to be motivated, particularly younger people. I worked in the corporate world in the time when roles for women were typically secretaries or administration. And, it was hard sometimes. But I remember my first manager's job, looking out of my office at the staff we had hired for the first time in about 3 years during one of the economic slowdowns. And I looked out of my office, and every woman in the office had, rather than the typical blue suit that was worn in the winter, had a blazer with a colorful skirt, which is the way I usually dressed in the summer. And I thought, I knew about leadership, but I wasn't sure that I was prepared to be that much of a role model. You just don't realize how impactful small actions are. And I often use the expression, your actions are so loud, I can't hear what you're saying.
Mm.
And I think that's really important, that people recognize that you can stand on a soapbox and preach, but it's really important what you're able to do. And your actions are much more powerful than any words.
Action is the loudest form of communication.
Or the hinges that hold the doors, these tiny hinges, putting one step in front of the other and keep walking and keep walking into your light, so you could bring your light into somebody else's dark hour. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And, absolutely, you've been a pioneer, and there's so much now. People are so much more open about it. But I do know that there are still women who struggle. There are still men who struggle. There are still children who struggle, right? And I think more and more people who speak up and who share, and even, even if your audience are in their 60s and 70s, I still think you can be a light for them, right? You can still
absolutely. Younger people in even their teens and 20s don't have the shame component. But I think once you get into your 40s and older, you're still carrying a lot of that shame.
Yeah.
And that's debilitating. I mean, that takes energy that could be used for the positive, and it burns up energy, and it diminishes motivation. and that's what I'm trying to get people to walk away from.
Brilliant. Love it. Absolutely love it. And just listening to you, I was reminded that I was having this conversation with one of my children earlier, about a week or so ago, and I was talking to her about goal setting, when not traditional goal setting, because I don't do traditional goal setting. I'm a creative, so I work with the creative process. And we were talking about the drivers when we're casting a vision, when we're going for a dream. And I was explaining to her about the two elements. And, just listening to you, I was thinking, it's really important to I wanted to bring this point across, because something you said really reminded me of this, in that in life we have two pivotal points, right? When we're going for dreams, when we're doing our dream bigs, right? We've got to ensure that we're building a dream that is something that we're going for, a life, a vision that we're going for, and not a pain we're leaving behind. So the two types of dreams that you can build is an away from dream. So you're moving away from, I'm moving away from losing weight, or from being fat. I'm moving away from the pain of ADD or ADHD, and the pain is the driving force.
Thinking I was stupid. Yes, I was running away from being stupid.
Yeah. And so the pain becomes the driving force, and the pain is the thing that drives your goal, and the pain is the thing that drives your dream. I just want to build a better life. I just want to build a better life. I just want to get away from the pain of this, right? And there are many, many people who are building dreams in that way. And then the opposite of that is choosing, is having the choice and saying, my decision is I'm choosing to build a life that looks so different from this, because I choose to build from a positive space. And so basically what you're doing is you're not being pushed from behind, you're being pulled from the front. And the problem is when we're being pushed from behind by the pain and it's very much like Krista's story as well, in terms of, for many years you were pushed by the pain of what was going on in your life, and that was the driving force. But it causes blind spots, right? It causes many, many blind spots. And there was no longevity in it, because when is the end result? What is the end result? There was no end result.
Satisfaction. There was no satisfaction.
Yeah, there was no end result. You're 100% right. You had no satisfaction, because the pain is enduring. It's always there. It's always reminding you, Carol, you're not there yet. Carol, you're so stupid. Carol, this, right? The same with Krista. Krista, you're not good enough yet. Krista, this. And so it's really important that when we're building these big dreams and we're dreaming big, that we're making sure that it comes from a holistic place, from a healed place, that the dream is a dream that is positive, that is over there. You're casting a vision, you're creating, you've got to put a blank canvas out there and say, I know the pain is so sore over here, but what would I love over there? And then every day remind yourself, this is what I'm going for. This is what I'm going for. And that is the best way to create a dream. And I'm so grateful, Carol. Just a second. I'm so grateful that you came and spoke about this, because it's given us the platform to talk about this. And similarly with Krista, if you guys don't share your difficult stories, it doesn't enable us to talk to people and say, be mindful. You want to build a positive dream, towards dream, not an away from dream. So thank you so much. I mean, you said so much and you shared so much as part of your story. And it was really, really powerful. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you coming and joining us last minute, because we had one of our speakers who pulled out. Unfortunately, she had a very eventful day and she just couldn't make it. So really grateful that you jumped on last minute, Carol, and you came and joined us so that you could share your story. And we're looking forward to seeing what you're going to be creating. How old are you again, if you don't mind me saying?
I will be 77 in 2 weeks.
So 77 years young, right?
That's right.
Yeah. And it's never too late.
Still walking 18 holes of golf twice a week.
Wow, wow. You know, our dream is to inspire young women and girls that your voice and ideas matter. And you are never too young or too old to dream big. We want to create a fairer society where diversity, inclusion, equality, and representation are the moving parts of our social landscape. We need more teachers like you to inspire every business, every community, every household to celebrate the ability to dream big. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, thank you for the opportunity.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you so, so much. Each and every one of you that came and spent time with us here tonight to share your stories. Like I said before, you know, our platform was created to share stories for you to be seen, to be heard, to be you, right? And for social edification. Dr. Marina and I are very much about social edification. Dr. Marina always says this quirky term around 96%, Dr. Marina, is bad news in the news.
98
right?
of the headlines, yes, 98%.
Is bad news. So we're here to make the good news.
19% of all the headlines going to print throughout the 358,000 newspapers tonight for tomorrow are bad news. And look at us. Look at us here. This is the ocean of good news. And it's just a matter of putting your name on it. This is why we are here together.
Yeah. And owning it, owning who you are, you know, stepping into it, just, you know, just saying, this is me, take me 100%. This is my dreams. And each and every one of us are allowed to dream. We're entitled to dream. We should be dreaming, right? And we just really wanted to bring that home. And we have got an entire whole day up until 8 p.m. tomorrow night, where we will be hearing from another good 80 speakers that will be sharing the stage with us. So not all of it will be on StreamYard. We'll be over on Clubhouse, where a large part of this summit, majority of it, is happening over on Clubhouse. So if you're in the audience right now and you're listening, come and join us over on Clubhouse, Rich Women Society. And right throughout the day, we've got some brilliant speakers from across the world who will be tuning in and speaking for the next 24 hours. Dr. Marina, over to you.
Thank you so much for being here with us. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you got inspired. And I really hope that you remember we are right now in front of our biggest dreams. Our bigger dream is to learn that dreaming big is not a luxury, but a necessity. From myself and Téa and everybody at Rich Woman Magazine and Rich Woman Society, with lots of love, please, let's move to Clubhouse. Goodbye.